Good morning. My name's Lucinda, and I'm very happy that you're here. I'm with Body Studios. Body Studios is a place built out of love, and I don't want to call it effort, but it is, damn it. Okay, so there's just some hard work that's put into it. And the reason that we built it was because we wanted to be a service to more people. We didn't know what that looked like. And now we have a better idea. And it's just really beautiful. The unfolding is gorgeous. And so we're so excited. And we're looking forward to this next year. So, Body, BOTI, stands for beautiful on the inside. And I received that in a meditation one day. And so this is how it all got started. I thought that I would go ahead and I would start there. um, excuse me. I had been working over at Costco. Every time somebody said the word Costco, I'd go like this, job security. That's just like what went off in my head because it just made me feel like no problem. I'll always have like money, everything will always work. It'll be like really cool. And so I was over at Costco. And I just happened to be the person that everybody loved to see. I was in charge of the samples, okay? And so people would come in and like we're talking thousands of people who would come in a day and they all knew me because I made a point of being out there and really getting in touch with everybody, right? And it was a way that I was able to throw myself into a place of business, be a service, and still be very undercover with all these shenanigans that I had had all my life. And I had finally, exactly right. I had finally, hi, Allison. Hi. Hi, everybody. I love you guys. Okay, so I had gone ahead and stayed there for quite a bit of time to where I had moved up the ladder and all of that. But I, sorry. I had gone ahead and honed like my intuitive skills, but just in a different way than, I had before. And so this particular time, was coming to the end of my tenure there, which, it just ends up that way sometimes because when the energy moves, you move. So I happened to be coming down the hallway toward the demo room to get ready to start the shift. And that was like my MO. I would go out, I would set things up, and then I would check to see, like, to make sure that, like, where I was going to place them, all kinds of silly stuff, right? And so, because there's a lot of rules. It's funny to watch me in structure. So anyway, here I am. And I did it for 11 years. That's what just surprises the fuck out of me. So anyway, so I was there and I'm coming down the hallway. All of a sudden, I'm like midway down the hallway. I'm like maybe 20 feet away from the demo door where I'm gonna go and I'm gonna turn in and I can't see anybody, but I'm hearing all this conversation. Like, I wish she would just let us go out to the floor. I wish that I know that she knows that we know what we're doing, and she just stares at us when she comes in the door, and all these different phrases are going off. I come in the door and nobody's mouth is moving, and I go, oh damn. I'm holding them in a position to where they can't become who they are because I'm afraid to become who I am. And I realized what a disservice I was doing to them. And oh my God, I was so struck. I was just struck. And I realized that it was time. So I didn't know what that looked like. So I went through a big identity crisis because that's what we do. We get very attached to what we do. We think that's who we be. And that's not necessarily the case. We are a makeup, a mashup of so much. And we have different aspects that we don't necessarily investigate all the time. We investigate it occasionally and it gives us some insight, but we'll create a perception and then that becomes cemented in our filter system. And that's just how we view the world. That's our worldview from now on. Very seldom are you going to find people who have been regimented into um, how it is that they believe that they'll shift out of that belief. Recently, I had a visit from my family, and the contrast that I got to see in the relationships that I have with my children was amazing. It is, they're all individual, and I knew that, you know that, but like when you get older and you really start to look back on it and you are redeveloping your communication with your kids or your family, and you're afraid, because I was afraid. All right, I was afraid that they wouldn't like me, that they wouldn't want to get to know me, and there was just like a lot of, I don't know, a lot of fear for a long time. Then I did some healing. I'm going to talk about the healing eventually. It's just not the, it's not the be all end all of anything, because it's a process. So one of the big healings that I did was like my mom, and that was, she passed away when I was 5. And then my dad just recently. And so there's, and my dad passed like when I was older. And so he lived a good life. And so just some, you know, impactful uh, experiences that I've had that I'm processing, right? So part of it is understanding whether or not I can hold space for myself and allow others to hold space for me while I'm processing, without transferring back that fear or that, gosh, you know, all that energy that you're feeling in that moment when you step back into that place of trauma. Okay. And so learning not to transfer it back to the individual who gave it to you in the first place, right? And then just pulling your energy away from all of the trauma and allowing it to be whatever it is, you get to go ahead and change the narrative into a more empowered position. It doesn't change the experience. You're going to have the experience. That's your experience. Don't rob yourself of it. You're the one who gets to develop it, because you're the one who's having the experience. So stay in your truth, whatever your truth is. A lot of times when we have a narrative, we've developed it through a belief system out of that particular experience. And it is to keep us safe, so that we feel comfortable, so that we are, our needs are met. All right. So with all of that, all right, we are redefining who we are. And when we do that, we're changing DNA strands and how they behave within the body. So let's say we're stress result oriented. So if something happens, we kick stress into high gear. Okay, then our body makeup is going to change, our physiology is going to change, so is our mentality, our emotional body, our energetic body, and our spirituality. Our spirituality is our belief system. So when we have all of these things that are shifting at such a ridiculous rate, moment to moment, because we speak all those words to ourselves in that narrative throughout the day, we are changing constantly. That is our consistency, change. All right. So when it comes to that, becoming more accepting of whatever the situational process is in your experience, and saying, oh, do I like this? Am I in gratitude of this? Is this something that's benefiting me? Right. And then you start to really unwind where you're at in the situation. It makes it a lot easier. So when you go through that identity crisis, you're not so attached to what you do. What you do is your actionable, it's your actionable passion of all of the thoughts that you build about how you think the world should be. Okay. And you're basing it on what has happened and what you think will happen. So all of us are in our psyche on a regular basis trying to figure life out. So all of us are psychic, because that's where we spend our time. Not all of our time, but a lot of our time. So we have two minds. We have our beautiful cranial brain, and then we have our beautiful heart brain. And that gives us a combination when we allow both of them to show up at the same time, right? When you can bring the thought of gratitude down into the experience of your heart in an emotional connection, ooh, you move into that beautiful state of being 100% present right in that moment. And so this is where you manifest from. This is where you release from. This is where you're going to get the biggest impact of who you are. And this is a really good space to be in. Mostly what happens is that your cells all show up at the same time. And when they do that, you get to tell a different story, move into a different flow state, allow the energy of transmutation to change that residual sticky energy of the old story to where you can bring in and reuse this energy in a different way because you've changed it. That's what transmutation means. You're changing it. You're changing it through intention. That's a big one. Okay. So now we're all present. This is a great place to be. I love coming into that space because we're hyper connected to our heart space. We're in our greater consciousness. We're realizing that we're one all together in consciousness. Plus, we become like one of the facets. So we are the representation of all of us. That's who it is. We're so connected, so interconnected that you will find at least one of your habits in any person that you look at. You'll find one of your practices in any person that you look at. So we share our belief system. We share our belief system. So in that, becoming more accepting of wherever it is that you're at and of others, then you get to go ahead and make substantial changes that will support you when you move forward. And so that's how that all works. Anyway, so that identity crisis that I went through, oh Lord, I had the best crew, and I would come in and they would be like, they'd be in there because I had decided I wasn't going to stay. And so it was like, oh, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then finally, I was having a meltdown like, oh, daily. And I started doing some really deep meditations in the morning. And when I did that, I got like, I went and I saw a psychic to find out if I was psychic because that's what psychics do. Isn't that the fucking craziest shit? So anyway, I went to go and see like whether or not I really knew what I was talking about. And turns out the first person didn't want to tell me, but spent 3 hours with me and then instructed me to go and be a Reiki master, go learn Reiki, and read the book, The Four Agreements. So the Four Agreements is a Toltec practice of how to apply life skills. All right. And it's about dream state, what you accept, what you don't accept, what's important to you, how you stay in center. And it's just a really good practice. And it's by Don Miguel Ruiz. So I really like that book. I practiced it for a very long time. And it helped me. It helped me an awful lot. It gave me a lot of structure. Then during one of my meditations, I went really deep because I did learn to become a Reiki practitioner. Something about me, I have been able to allow the Holy Spirit to heal through me for a very long time, since I was a child. And when I learned Reiki, it gave me a different set of skills. It's the same energy. It's still that divine, loving, unconditional space of energy that comes in that supports the individual and whatever their intention is to like heal, right? And I used to have visceral side. I still do. What I mean is I can see like inside people's bodies when I'm healing them, like viscerally. Sometimes it's disconcerting, sometimes it's not. I can see, I can remote view a lot of things. I can be with the person in their mind so that way they know that I'm there because I've talked to people who are in comas. And when they come out, everything's been validated. So it's just, you can do an awful lot through intention. Mostly what it is really just setting yourself aside and allowing. And that's really what it comes to. So here I am, about 3 months. I'm going in almost every day crazy. And as I'm in there, I'm I'm realizing so many grateful things that I had. So at first, the reason that I was going to leave the job was because I was dissatisfied with the outcome of a conversation. All right. And in that, I realized that I was looking for a job when I found that one. And that's a very powerful place to be, a very powerful place to be. All right. So first, we're going to go from the top of your head and bring it down straight to your heart. Clear your heart, energy, heart chakra. All right. So what we're doing right now is we're opening up your heart chakra. Beautiful anahata. All right. Dot. There you go. And we'll bring in more unconditional love and gratitude. Okay. So clearing clearing away all that debris from all those jobs that we've had where we realize that we're in a good position but we're not in a fulfilling position, not because we're not doing a good job, not because we're not well matched for whatever the tasks are, mostly because our spiritual beliefs have outgrown the position. And understanding that about yourself is tantamount to your serenity. So once I came into awareness that I was just in the wrong place at the right time to find all this out, that's when my life got better. That's when it started to change. So I really started to dive into like my spirituality. And when I did that, it got easier for me. And that was because I started to fall back into like, what are my practices? What does bring me this happiness? What brings me this joy? What makes me have that beautiful center? Anyway, I decided to start body studios. I got a lot of meditations and stuff, and that was really good. But that's enough about how we started. And then just, moving in from there. So I'm really excited by that. Now, there you go. So we have just a little bit in the back right there. So if you're able to, all right, if you can either intention through thought to focus right here above your eyebrows, all right, just focus right here. Okay. This is what universal wisdom told me, that right here is where we store a lot of sound bites that don't necessarily um, allow us to become who we are, because it stores negative story and it stores positive story. And so, what we want to do is we want to intention the release of anything that is a limiting story, okay? Because all of it is for our greatest and highest good. A lot of it keeps us safe, a lot of it meets our needs, it's very familiar. So, it's scary to start letting go of familiar perceptions or gaining another perception, because it's going to change a belief system that you have in place that meets your needs. And it just means that we're in that constant, consistent change. So, however it is that you like step up to it. So, in tarot, there's the death card, and that's the transformation card. So, transition, transformation, however you would like to, view it. But you're definitely going to go from a place of knowing everything there is to know in that moment about your life, change, and then knowing shit. You understand? And all that is you're just shifting because you've accepted another perception. Now you're broadening your bandwidth. You're becoming more connected with your outside world and then your inner world. Okay. And so when you show up that way, it gets a little bit easier in life. It's not something that we're taught on a regular basis. So that makes it kind of difficult. So it's a new sort of perception. Okay. Now, I use oils. I use a lot of oils. I love oils. Anyway, so today what I thought I would do is I have this one I don't sell. I purchased this one, and this one I use for anointing in most of my classes. And so what I'd like for you to do is to, if you're not driving, okay, go ahead and relax and close your eyes. And I'm going to tune in to everybody who is here and everyone that will come. And what we're going to do is we're just going to bring in an enormous amount of unconditional love, vibration, and acceptance. You'll begin to feel it like right in your third eye area, ajna. Okay? And we'll go ahead and we'll bless you. There you go. All right. Now, the blessing that I brought for you is that you could see the world through your heart eyes. Okay? Not to where you're like super emotional. That's some shit. You don't have to be emotional, but you can have perspective and see from both worlds, as above and below. So, as above is your spiritual side and how you view the world and how you feel about it. Okay. And then as below is how you action it, like what it is that you do to support that view. All right. And that's your purpose. That's how you look at your purpose. What brings you joy? So if it brings you joy, then you're in your purpose. And mostly it is moving into the state of being that best suits you and supports your needs, makes you feel safe, and allows you to grow and explore your spirituality, your belief system in a variety of ways. Um, when I'm on the freeway, I used to have a belief system where if I get on the freeway and I merge into the first lane, if I stay there, I'm going to keep getting stuck because this is where people enter and exit. So if I move over one, that will alleviate a lot of the traffic. So I would move over one. That's my belief system. I'm spiritual. So that's my spiritual belief. I believe that if I do this, this will take place. Simplify everything that you do and understand that that's who you are makes it super easy. Okay. And that puts you into a beautiful position of empowerment. It moves you into a little bit more oneness to where you feel heard and you feel supported for who you are because you're naturally who you are. Okay. Now, there's one more spray that I want to use. It's not released yet. Okay. Oh, by the way, we have this particular sage is the one that has like the rainbow of roses on it. So we have that one. That's the one that I used today. I used the rose to raise the vibration. I just wanted to really bring us up because I thought that that would be beneficial. Okay. So I have one more spray that will be released like next week. I have a set of 4-letter words that I'm making oils, sprays, and some colognes. Okay. So in this one's called Magic. So it's MYJK, my joke. Anyway, so it's magic. Okay. And so that's what this looks like anyway for right now. Can't really see it. Anyway, it comes like this. So most of these sprays and oils have rose gold in them because I wanted to be able to do the alchemy to it, to bring in the presence of what it is that I wanted to expand on for whatever individual uses it. So this particular 4-letter word, all right, is great for when you are wanting a shift, like an immediate shift into a higher state of being. Okay. So I want everyone to just get really centered. I'm going to pull everybody into that beautiful center. We're going to connect your silver cords, connect, bring down that beautiful, loving, unconditional, divine energy into our experience a little bit more. That's what we're going to do. We're going to become more aware of the energy that we have access to. That's what we're doing. Okay. And when you feel that energy and you intention that energy to have a certain vibration, so that way you can pivot and you want to go into that vibration. So we're bringing in more unconditionality, more acceptance, forgiveness. A lot of times we need to go through forgiveness and we think that it's for the other person and their actions. It's not that shit. It's us forgiving ourselves for our ignorance in the situation because a lot of times we fight with, oh, I was smart enough. I'm smart enough. I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. How come that happened to me? And rather than staying in trying to figure out like how it happened, understanding that it happened, accepting it, and then making a different decision unattached from the situation. Because if you make a decision to change in the situation, you'll have a repeat of the situation in a different version. So that's why you want to do that. You want to recognize where you're at, separate a little bit, and then decide where it is that you'd like to be. So, anyway, back to magic. So, that's what this does. This is a great pivot. So, think about where you're at, bring yourself into awareness of where you're at, recognize any limiting thoughts or stories. Just take a couple of seconds to like say, oh yeah, I've been talking some shit to myself about this. Okay. You go into that space. Take a nice deep breath. Ooh, that's some heavy ass energy, huh? Okay, so ready? Let go like this. Great. Okay, so here we go. Everybody's centered. You'll feel a lot of the energy right here because remember, we talked about the sound bites. Okay. And this is like how we view. This is what we store, how we view. Okay. And we're bringing up all that beautiful heart support energy. So you're feeling like gratitude coming up for you. Very good. All right. And now what we're going to do is we're holding space for ourselves. This is how you hold space for yourself, how you honor yourself, how you say, I'm important. It's okay if I stop. It's okay if I stop and I say that I'm important. It's okay if I love me and I give myself this break. There you go. See, so now we're in this entrainment to where we're all vibing in this beautiful space. And then we're just going to give you a little shot. Now, some of you may be able to transmit that beautiful fragrance. All right. Now, I'll explain it to you. It's a very fresh fragrance. It reminds me of this uh, perfume that used to come in like a cigar case, and it was so good, very fresh. And so it is between, I would say it's very gender neutral. So it doesn't lean more towards a floral, it's more of a refreshing spray. But as you can feel, it's already changing like everything. Okay. And that's just a nice way to pivot. And those are part of my 4 letter words because I love 4 letter words. So I thought that would be a great way to go. All right. Now, something else that I wanted to talk to you guys about today was that Mercury is moving into or has moved into Capricorn. What does that mean to you? That means that you just got a gift from the universe. Okay. And so here's how the gift comes. Anything that you've been working on in the last, like since June. Okay. Anything you've been working on since the end of June, like right after solstice, up into this time is when you're going to be able to really focus, let go of fodder stuff that may have supported it in the I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this story. But what's actually going to happen for you now is it's going to be more like I'm doing this. And in that, you're going to find a lot of success. This energy, this particular energy, is going to last until like 3 weeks into January. So, this is the best time to be set up for whatever it is that you plan to do. And so, it's like really, really good. Okay. All right. I love that. So Mercury is like, Mercury is all about communication, right? And so now you're communicating to like the hierarchy of the wheel, basically, and the grown up version of the sign that brings in our material or tangible wealth. Okay. And that's in an astrology belief system. Okay. So when you apply like the planetary alignment, which is always viewed from like where we're at. That's why you don't see Earth. In case you didn't know that, we are Earth. So we're looking out at the stars. And so their position is a transit because it transitions, it moves like this. So when you're looking at them, it's only that snapshot at that time. And this is a thereabouts. It's always a thereabouts. And if you're present at that time, then that's exactly what it is in that moment. But we've made up the archetypes, we've made up the positioning and what they stand for, and all of these other things. But also, there's an oral tradition that's been passed down about the stars. And we have that inherently inside of our DNA. So it unlocks. And that's why we are so susceptible to planetary movement, is because it is something that's been practiced for tens of thousands of years. Okay. So that's why. So here's another thing. All right. We are going to pull a rune because of this beautiful energy that we're entering into. Like, I would like to. So for me, when I woke up, I was thinking to myself, I go, well, what's going to benefit me? What's going to really give me what I need to be able to move into this luxury of knowing that everything's going to be okay? Because I have this big, I want to say, well, it's just a big shift. Okay. It's a big shift that's happening within the business. It's an expansion that we're doing and we're really excited about it. And we're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's happening. So, I started the business and then we met Dr. Tara. And so Dr. Tara does a good portion of the business within the building, but we've always built toward having maybe a holistic approach to like how you do life. So we do metaphysical studies, spiritual studies is what that means, philosophical studies. Okay. And then we also do, she is a chiropractor, and she has like a bunch of technologies, and so she does that. And then we have Dawn, who is like a life insurance agent and a clairvoyant medium. Okay, and then we have Lanisha, who's a hypnotherapist. So we're very well rounded. Anyway, we just expanded, and we were able to receive the building next door as well. And so we're going to be open in such a grand way. It's going to be really great. And then we're going to figure out what we want to do at the back now. We might bring in technologies. I'm just really excited. So since that is like up on my plate, see what I mean? It's something that's very prevalent in my vibration. I don't have worry or concern over it. In fact, when I first found out, I was elated because I know that it's going to be perfect how it turns out. I know, right? It's going to be perfect how it turns out. So there's just so much that can come from this. It's going to be so good. And this is everything that I saw in the vision when I first started to do the meditation for Body Studios. And it's really crazy. It's taken 6 years, 6 years for it to actually come into this window to become what it's meant to be. So it's like, it's just crazy. So I thought that I needed maybe some support to see, like, what's my direction. And I know that I'm going to sit and I'm going to channel. I'm going to really sit with it, and I'm going to find out how it's going to be beneficial to others and to myself. That's something else I'm learning too, is not to sell myself short, right? So don't do that. When we auto accommodate for others, we're not allowing them their processes. So when you see somebody struggling, you can offer help, but you don't have to jump in and try and save them. That was my advice. Okay. So, oh, wow. Okay. Maybe I'll choose a different room. No, I'm only kidding. Okay. Let's see. So we will be on 131. This is the journey rune. Yeah. 131. I'm like 20 pages up. Sorry about that. I don't know if you guys know anything about runes, but I've done runes since I was probably 14. and they're very insightful. I like Ralph Blum. Ralph Blum is I don't know. It just energetically, it really spoke to me. I picked up runes when the Crystal Cave used to be over in Orange on Main Street, and I would go in there, and it was just like a candy store. I really loved that store, and the two sisters that were there were just amazing, and they taught us like so much. Me and my sister, and it was a very magical time in my life. So that way I could have something that was tangible, because home life was very challenging, and I didn't know what my belief system was, but I was very explorative. I've explored so many different practices. It's awesome. It's just really broadened my view about how my belief system works for me. And I lend my belief system to others through opinion, philosophy, teaching, however you want, like sharing. Okay. And then they lend theirs to me. I usually, I usually integrate what they've given me because it's so impactful and it's worked so well for them. It isn't because it's a be all end all. It's because it's another view that I get to participate in. And that's why. So, journey, communication, union, and reunion. Okay. So this is Rado. This is called Rado, or Rido, however you would like to say that. And it's Raido. All right. And it means what I just said. We got it reversed. Okay. So that's always pleasant when that happens. Okay. So reversed, receiving radar reverse puts you on notice to be particularly attentive to personal relationships. Okay. All right. So everything that we do is spiritual. Everything that we do is energetic. Everything is interconnective. Everything is within the law of oneness. All the universal laws are always in play. So everything that you do, okay, all right, is you. So that's how you're showing up in this reading. All about you. Okay? All right. So I'm going to read that again so you understand a little bit deeper what your positioning is. Okay? All right. So, receiving Rado Reverse puts you on notice to be particularly attentive to personal relationships. So, your best personal relationship is you first. So, pay attention to what's going on with you. And then, if you're in another personal relationship, because every relationship is personal, okay, then you're going to see how you're feeling and showing up in that relationship. All right. At this time, ruptures are more likely than reconciliations, and effort may be required to keep your good humor. Whatever happens, how you respond is up to you. You're in a position of power because now you have this extra information to where, like, ooh, so for this week, even though Mercury, the planet of communication, all right, has gone into Capricorn, it might be still challenging, right? Because it's getting ready to go into retrograde. So it's going to go into retrograde for 3 weeks out of this stint right here. So it's a warning. It's like a firing the shot over the bow of the boat, right? Okay. Now, the requirements for your growth may totally disrupt what you had intended. Desired outcomes may elude you. And yet, what you regard as detours, inconveniences, disruptions, blockages, and even failures and deaths will actually be rerouting opportunities with union and reunion as the only abiding destinations. So, what we're actually learning, okay, so here's the rune, okay? So what we're actually learning from this particular message, okay, of the runes is that we don't want to go all willy-nilly into a position. What we want to do is we want to understand that it's a journey, okay? And in that journey, we can pick and choose little bits and pieces to prepave where it is that we would like to be. So all you're doing is laying a foundation right now. That's what your communication is doing right now. It's taking you down a relationship with you to see how you want to show up in your future endeavors. So it's challenging you to be aware that that's what you're doing, okay? You're building for you, okay? So that's part of it. Now, a lot of times I kind of look at like the stars, and I'll look at the numerology, and I'll look at a lot of different things to see if there's like a lot of patterning in it. If there's not a lot of patterning, then I don't really worry about it overly much. But if I see a lot of repetitious numbers, or if there is something that's going to benefit, I really pay attention to that. So what that does is that provides me a way to write the script for what's going to happen in my life. When I start to focus on things that bring me greater benefit, that make me feel good, okay, that I feel in alignment with, not the situation making me feel good, but that I'm in alignment with and I feel good because I'm choosing to be happy, okay? And it's not easy to be happy over everything. Who wants to do that? That's really like, I don't know. That's like ridiculous. I'm not happy 100% of the time, but I'm happy more often than not, for sure. And I would say probably 89, 95. I'm like up there, because I'm pretty happy all the time. Well, a lot of the time. And the times that I'm not, I I'm really in like healing. I'm looking at myself. I'm looking at maybe some past tragedy or trauma that is maybe a little difficult. You know what I mean? And I get to sit with it, because like when we're doing that shadow work, a lot of times it seems insurmountable, like it's so overwhelming because we didn't want to look at it in the first place. It's something that happened in the past, okay? And we just want it to be done. Just be done. We're good. I don't want to repeat that. But it's in our vibration, it's in our vibrational makeup. And what it does is it creates a frequency. And that is a wave that we send out that bounces off of something else that's in that same entrainment or alignment and then comes back to us. And that's what we're doing. We're communicating energetically through sound waves and light waves to one another. And we're saying, this is my vibe. You want to vibe with me? Okay, great. So if you're happy, yay. If you're sad, yay. You're putting it out there. You're picking up what I'm putting down now. Get it? So You're in charge of you, and that works out really good. All right. So I also thought that it would be helpful if we received a rune to maybe, I don't know, maybe kind of look at a card to support that, or maybe, you know, look at it in a different way. All right. So here is the card that I chose for this particular week. We're going to get it together. This is my Cyril Marchetti deck. Tarot of Dreams is what this one is. Well, that one popped out pretty fast. Let's get that. Oh, it's not one. And it's money. I'm a Taurus. I am such a freaking Taurus. It's money. Okay. So anyway. Oh. Woo. Okay. So right now, if you have something that you've been wanting to purchase and you've set aside the money, but you're not sure if it's a good time to do it, wait 3 days and then do it. I just feel 3 days for this particular set of cards. All right. 3 days and it will be revealed to you whether or not it's a good purchase or not. It's just not, it's in a fog right now. Okay. And how I know that is that we have the seven of coins. Okay. And the seven of coins is like and it's reversed. So you're kind of looking, that's the pentacles, seven of pentacles, and that represents home and hearth. It's a very earthy, it's an earth representation. So that's going to be your tactile, tangible experience. So in that, what I'm seeing is that there's a slowing of funding. We need to really look at our budgets, find out where we want to allocate that money, cut down on things that are trivial, or maybe the $4.99 subscription that you have that you no longer play that game, or maybe there's just different things. So we need to clean up our budgets, and it's going to slow down so that way we can, and then we can reallocate that money. But we're going to go into a period of savings, so make sure that you're paying yourself and know that the work isn't done, that there's still plenty of work for you to do in the end to receive more. All right. And this is the card set that we got. They're both pentacles, coins, however you want to look at it. This is the reverse. This is the seven reversed. And this right here is the 9. Okay. And it came as such. So we're moving up and into a better flow state, which is really nice. It's just that it feels a little disjointed when we start right now. So give yourself a break, allow yourself a little bit of time. Know that when you come up against something, see, this is how beneficial this is. Okay. So all the information that we've received, right? One, we have the power to change and pivot from wherever it is that we're at. All you do is you take a focus, you sit with wherever it is that you're at, you learn what the charge is, you let the charge get less and less and less. Then you move out of that, you pull your energy out of it, you create some resolution and a story. So now you have a different narrative. Yes, I've been through that. This is how I healed. I have this perception now, and I'm very grateful. When you move into gratitude, that's going to make you a well-rounded individual. It will let you be compassionate towards yourself, more forgiving, more accepting. And that's things that you really need. We all need that. So when you're holding yourself in that space and you're told by a divination tool to wait, slow down, it's not going to be all icing on the cake. It's actually going to be too much sugar in the cake. So you got to watch what it is that you're eating, watch what it is that you're doing. So it's just slowing you down, telling you, hold on, be more mindful. Be mindful of wherever you're at, because the story you're telling is the experience you're living. Okay? The story you're telling is the experience you're living. So slow down. That's good, right? Okay, great. All right. And that's what I really wanted to share with you guys. All right. Um, Maybe if we start to have like more people who are engaged, I would be happy to do individual readings and everything and pull cards. But for right now, I'm satisfied with doing the group reading. And I know it's a benefit. And I just love you guys. And thank you so much for tuning in today. And have a blessed day. Okay, bye.